Hi, I'm Pastor Kurt, and this is your 5-minute Bible study. Today, we're going to look at Acts chapter 12, verses 6 through 19. In this scene, we hear about Peter in prison. Well, how did he get there? How did he end up in prison? Well, he's been arrested for talking about Jesus, which we've seen earlier in Acts. People don't want to hear about Jesus. And so when there are people talking about Jesus, they end up getting arrested. It's not a crime. They just want these people to shut up. Well, now Peter's in prison, and he doesn't know what's going on. Well, while he's in prison, a remarkable thing happens. An angel breaks him out of prison. And Peter at first doesn't know what to make of this, but the angel basically says, "Come on, follow me, I'm getting you out of here." So he does. He follows this angel. Peter is confused. He's just following this angel. He doesn't know what in the world's going on. Well, once he gets out of prison, the angel kind of disappears. And so Peter's on his own. But Peter knows that he can go to the house of the mother of John Mark. Now, we haven't really heard about John Mark yet. We'll hear about him in a little bit. But apparently, John Mark's mother, at her house, was a group of Christians. And Peter knew that that was a safe place for him to go to. So he went there. The people there at John Mark's mother's house had been praying for Peter. They knew that he was in prison. They were praying that God would help him. Well, Peter ends up banging on the door, because they've locked the door. He bangs on the door, and a servant girl named Rhoda comes to the door. She asks who it is. He says it's Peter. Rhoda gets so excited that Peter's at the door that she runs back to everybody else back inside the house and says, "Peter's here." Well, Rhoda forgot to open the door for Peter. She was so excited it was him that she ran back and told everybody, but she didn't even let him in the house. Once she realized that, she went back, she opened the door, she let him in. So it's kind of a little funny moment there that she's so excited that it's Peter that she forgets to let him in the house. Anyway, Peter comes in and everybody there is excited for him, that they get to see him again, that he's out of prison, that God is still doing great things. It's a funny kind of scene. I mean, first we have this angel breaking Peter out of prison, and then we get this moment with Rhoda who forgets to open the door. There's little funny moments throughout the Bible, and sometimes we don't notice them at first. We have to pay attention. But when we do pay attention, it's quite funny. But what else is this story about, other than just being a little funny thing here? What's the deal with this angel breaking Peter out of prison and Peter going to the home of John Mark's mother? Why should that matter for us? Well, think about what Peter's going through here. Peter just got arrested. He doesn't know what's going to happen. He doesn't know if he's going to stay in prison. He doesn't know how long he's going to be in prison. He doesn't know what the rest of his story is going to be like. Maybe you know that experience. Maybe something has happened to you, some tragedy or some problem, and you don't know what's going to happen to you after this, right? None of us know what tomorrow is going to bring. But we do know that God is with us. Maybe God's not busting you out of jail with an angel, but God is there with you and God will see you through. Now, think about all those people at the house of John Mark's mother. They didn't know what was going to happen either. They were praying for Peter, but they didn't know what was going to happen to him. Maybe you know that experience too. You know what it's like to pray for somebody and not know what's going to happen to them, right? You hope things turn out well, but you don't know for sure. When Peter knocks on the door, Rhoda is so excited that she forgets to let him in. For Rhoda, this sounds like an answer to her prayer that Peter is finally there. In both cases, Peter in prison and these people at the home of John Mark's mother, they don't know what's going to happen to them. But in both scenes, they see that God is with them. God helped Peter while he was in prison, and God helped these people who were supporting Peter by having Peter show up at their door. Now, when you pray for someone, maybe that's not the kind of answer that you'll get. Maybe they're not going to show up at your door right away and surprise you. But remember that even if that doesn't happen, that God is still full of surprises. And God is still with you. Even if you don't know what tomorrow brings, even if you don't know what's right around the corner, God is still there. And God is still going to see you through. Whether you're the one in prison or you're the ones who are praying for somebody. God is still doing good things. And even if you don't know what's happening, God is still in charge. And that's great. There's your 5-minute Bible study. Please remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you next time. Thanks.